Hello class 8, welcome to your civics class. Today I'm going to continue the same chapter, chapter number 1, the legislature. So in today's class I'm going to explain the procedure of passing money bill as well as ordinary bill. And not only that, I'm going to tell you the power of the Union Parliament. In this topic, I'm going to discuss about the legislative powers, financial powers, control over executive, constituent functions, electoral functions, and judicial functions of the Union Parliament. So let's get started. So when we talk about the legislative powers of the Union Parliament, legislative means law-making powers. So the Parliament has that power to make laws on 97 subjects in the Union list and 47 subjects in the concurrent list and rest in the state on the state list. So basically there are three lists: Union list, concurrent list and state list. And the Parliament can make laws, make rules and regulations on 97 subjects on in the Union list and 47 subjects in the concurrent list and rest in the state list, right? So on a subject in the concurrent list, both the Parliament and a state legislature may make law, but the law of the Parliament, the law of the state supersedes the law of the state legislature thus establishes the superiority of the Parliament over the state legislatures. So that means if there is a conflict between the state and the union, state and the central, that means then the decision or the law made by the Parliament will be prevailed, right? So in another way, if there is a conflict between the Parliament and the state, or the state and the state and the union or central, then in that case the Parliament will make law on that subject, right? So that's the legislative powers of the Union Parliament. Now let's move to the next, that is residuary power of the Parliament. So it can make law on a subject which is not mentioned in any of those three lists. So I told you those three lists, that is the Union list, state list and concurrent list. So the subjects which are not mentioned in those three lists, so in that subject also the Parliament can make laws, that is known as the residuary powers, right? So I'll give you the examples of union list or the central list, like communications, transport, ports, and your railways, foreign affairs, international treaties. These all are included in the union list, right? So the Parliament make laws on those subjects. Now let's talk about the that concurrent list. So in concurrent list and concurrent list, like education, forest and protections of wildlife and birds, that these subjects are included in concurrent list, whereas state list included, like the or state list includes your public sanitation, public health, hospitals, dispensaries, and your gambling, betting, and your police, public order. So these subjects are included in state list, right? Okay. During the recess of the Parliament, the President may issue an ordinance. So you know what is an ordinance? Ordinance is an order issued by the President during emergency. Now what kind of emergency? If there is a financial crisis, or constitutional machinery breakdown, or war, or civil rights. So during those emergencies, the president calls for the session, or calls for the meeting, right? So that is known, and at that time he issues an ordinance, that issues an order, that is known as an ordinance, right? So ordinance is also is issued during emergency and when the parliament is not in session, right? Now, but it must be approved. Now that ordinance, once it is released, once it is um, ordered or issued by the president, then it is to be approved by both the houses of the parliament when they reassemble. And the expiry term of or expiry date of that ordinance is 6 weeks. So it's written here, the ordinance ceases to operate 6 weeks after the reassembly of the parliament unless approved by the letter earlier, right? So the expiry term of that ordinance, once it is issued, that is 6 weeks, right? Okay, now next is control over executive. So the parliament has exclusive or we can say exercise, the member of parliament or the parliament exercises control over executive. So control over executive means they exercise control over the minister or council of ministers. So the prime minister and the council of ministers are collectively responsible to the Lok Sabha, right? So they remain in office as long as they continue to enjoy the confidence of the Lok Sabha by simple majority. So Lok Sabha members can enjoy, the Prime Minister and his Council of Ministers they can remain in the office or they can continue as long as they continue to enjoy the confidence of the Lok Sabha. So if the Prime Minister or the Council of Ministers lose their confidence, or if no confidence motion is passed against those ministers, in that time the prime minister has to resign. So resignation of prime minister means resignation of entire ministers. That means his council of ministers. So that is known as collective responsibility, right? So resignation, if no confidence motion is charged against a minister, against the prime minister, then prime minister has to resign. And resignation of prime minister means resignation of entire council of ministers, right? So it is known as collective responsibility, and they are collectively responsible to Lok Sabha. So, and the council of ministers, they can or they remain in the office as long as they enjoy, or as long as they enjoy the confidence of the Lok Sabha, right? Now, next is constituent functions. So constituent functions means related to laws. So if there is any amendment to the laws, means any changes, right, to the bill to amend, the bill to change, the constituent may be moved in either house, because for alteration also, for to get changes or to get rectification and that bill, the procedure is same. That means it has to be approved by both the houses, right? So it has to be passed in both the houses by a simple majority or by 2/3 of majority as provided under Article 368 of the Constitution. So some of the bill is there which can be passed, which can be easily passed by simple majority of members present and voting. But some bills are there which really need 2/3 of the majority of the members present and voting. So we can say constitution is both flexible as well as rigid, right? So the bill to amend the constitution may be moved in either house, and I told you it has to be passed in both the houses by a simple majority, and in some bill by a two-third of majority as provided under the Article 368 of the Constitution, right? Okay, now next is electoral function. The elected members of both the houses of the parliament, along with the members of the states' legislative assemblies, constitute the Electoral College to elect the President of India. This is very important term, that is Electoral College. So what is Electoral College? This means it's a elected member of Lok Sabha, elected member of Rajya Sabha, and elected member of state legislative assemblies. Um, so this is that body of those members who elects the president of India, right? And vice president of India also. And it's written here, the vice president of India is elected by MPs, that means member of parliament of both the houses, where state assembly has no role, right? So that's a difference in the elections of president and vice president. In president, elected members of Lok Sabha, elected member of Rajya Sabha, that means elected members of MPs, so member of parliament. So I'm focusing this word elected members, because we know that in Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha both nominated and elected members are there, but I'm talking about only elected members. So elected members of Lok Sabha, elected members of Rajya Sabha, and elected members of state legislative assemblies, they make a body who that body chooses the or that body elects the president of India, right? And whereas vice president, only elected MPs, that means elected member of Lok Sabha and elected member of Rajya Sabha, are involved in that election of vice president. There is no role of elected members of state legislative assembly. So that's the difference in the electoral function of that president and vice president. So now this is the electoral function, that means the member of parliament, this is the electoral function of the member of parliament, Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha. Clear? Okay, now next is judicial functions. Now next is judicial functions of the parliament. So the parliament exercises the power to impeach the president, the vice president, and the judges of Supreme Court and High Courts. So impeachment, I told you impeachment term is for the removal of the president, vice president, the judges of Supreme Court and High Courts from their offices, right? Okay, so that's the impeachment. Now the member of parliament, the members of parliament, they exercise the power to impeach, to remove the president, the vice president, the judges of high courts and Supreme Court. So according to the procedure laid down for the purpose, the parliament can also punish a person for disturbing its working or for showing disrespects for the house as such. So not only that, the parliament can punish that person who tries to lower the dignity of the house, or who the parliament can punish that person if that person disturbs or tries to disturb the working of the house, right? So these are the judicial functions of the parliament. Now let's talk about the financial powers, which is very, very important. So the Lok Sabha controls the national finances. That means in another way we can say Lok Sabha holds the national purse. National purse, right? Why? Because Lok Sabha is that house in the parliament which can only originate, or which can only produce money bill. So let's talk about, I told you in the previous video that I'll talk about the ordinary bill and money bill. So let's have a look. Okay, let's talk about the ordinary bill and money bill. So what is money bill? A bill having financial bearing, that is known as money bill. For example, expenditure of the government, or expenses or budget made by the government. So that is money bill. So what is money bill? A money bill is that bill which is having financial bearing. Now what is an ordinary bill? Ordinary bill is what? Which is not having financial bearing. That is an ordinary bill, right? So Ordinary bill is also known as non-money bill. Non-money bill, right? For example, um, the bill on triple talaq, right? So the bill which is other than money bill is known as ordinary bill or non-money bill. Now let's move to the that part, that is procedure for passing money bill. So we know that in regarding this money bill, Lok Sabha is that house which has right to originate money bill, right? So money bill can originate only in Lok Sabha, and after the approval of Lok Sabha members, the bill is sent to Rajya Sabha. Now, after the approval of Rajya Sabha members, it is sent to the president. Now, the president, after the approval of president needs to assent the bill. So, assent means signature. Assent the bill, and after the president's assent, the bill becomes an act. So this is the procedure, and as I told you, Lok Sabha has upper hand in this regarding money bill. So money bill can originate only in Lok Sabha, and after the approval of Lok Sabha member, it is sent to Rajya Sabha, and after approval of Rajya Sabha, it is sent to the president. But here point to be noted that the Rajya Sabha members can hold that bill for 14 days, maximum 14 days, right? And if they don't send within this 14 days or 14 days, then also that bill seem to be passed, because Rajya Sabha or the president, they have no right to reject money bill. Clear? So that we can say Lok Sabha holds the upper hand, or Lok Sabha holds the national purse, right? So this is the simple procedure of passing money bill. Okay, children, I'll take your leave now. Hopefully, I'll try to complete this chapter in the in next video, and I'll try to discuss all the exercises related to this chapter, right? So soon we'll meet in the next video. Till then, stay safe, stay healthy. Thank you.